Well, we had an epic week at Consensus slash Coxcensus slash meet as many projects as possible while they're in town. And I took some time yesterday to debrief, to really check in with myself and with our team and just get clear on how we want to engage with some of the opportunities that showed up at Consensus, what that looks like in the short term and long term. And in this video, I'm just going to be going through kind of a general NFTREASURE update on where everything's at, what our current revenue numbers are, some of the opportunities that we'll be engaging, etc. So I'll read through my notes to some extent, riff the rest of the way, and I appreciate you being here and paying attention. Obviously, we spent a lot of time getting prepped for Consensus. There were thousands of crypto people here in Austin where I live, and we had a really epic rooftop event that went down at a bar in Austin called El Cockfight. So there's a bunch of coverage of that on Twitter. Got to meet a lot of people in real life, and it was a lot of fun. First things first, though, if you didn't see the message a week or so ago, prize season redeem is live. If you won anything during prize season, you can now redeem those at redeem.nftreasure.com. And we do have some prizes in prize season still available. There's still a MacBook that you can win. There's still an iPad Pro. There's still 600 million smarter. And then there's 3 billion smarter. One of the things that we'll be adding tomorrow are 200 mystery prizes. We have a random assortment of t-shirts from the past 3 events that we did. That was the NFT NYC event, the Cockfest event in Troy, New York, and then a handful of shirts left over from Coxcensus here in Austin. So if you win one of those mystery prizes, we'll set the odds so that those are available in the game over the next 4 weeks. You can play for those mystery prizes and for the remaining larger prizes, and we are shipping all those out. We also have prizes that are available on the secondary marketplace, so just know that you can redeem all of these. So if you see something that you want to snag, you can pick that up over at JoePegs. And then we are planning another prize season that will likely go live in the next 4 to 6 weeks. So that's probably about how long it'll take to win these remaining prizes. And then we're talking to, I met with a lot of people, as we'll get into later in this document, over 32 projects, about everything from starting to do merchandise, potential partnerships and collaborations, and potential sponsorships for our next prize season. So we will launch another prize season in 4 to 6 weeks. We want to make sure that the new e-commerce store, product creator tool, and any partner sponsorships are in place before we launch that, so that we can really maximize the press and use it as a way to mint out the remaining 6,000 keys. So if you've already redeemed a prize NFT, we did have a slight delay because we were getting some of our backend systems synced with our print shop, but it's all synced now, and all of those prizes will ship out this week. So let's get into Coxcensus. It was a huge success. It was so great to meet, all of the people that came out. Everybody was wearing their NFTREASURE gear. We had several brands that came up to us because we were live t-shirt printing and doing live trading cards. I'll show you what those looked like. So we had these trading cards that you basically got into a photo booth, and then you could pick one of 4 kind of cartoon scenes, and we used AI to convert your face into kind of a cartoon, and then print it on one of these trading cards. And then this was an NFC connected trading card that you could scan to get a proof of attendance NFT that looked like this. So this was a really cool use case of kind of the NFTREASURE tech stack. A lot of events were like, oh, wow, this is such an interesting mix, being able to claim a trading card and a t-shirt proof of attendance. Everybody was super stoked about these cards that we're doing live at the event. And so we did have several projects and brands interested in hiring us to do similar events with them in the future. We got a lot of live video coverage and photography of this event, and that's by design. We'll be taking all that and using it to basically create an events package that you can hire NFTREASURE to do these live events. We had several partners and sponsorships on this event that you can see on Avalanche, Cockatoo, 26 Podcast, and Cock Media. We think in the future that it'll be something where we can basically pitch those sponsorship spots now that we have like really good photography and video footage showcasing all the engagement and how much fun people are having, and start to charge 10 to 20,000 an event to do similar services in the future. Avalanche DAO, also has their brand ambassador program now. They threw a little bit of money towards the Cox Census event, and in the future they're open to partnering in a larger way. So some interesting things happening there, just as us being able to package the merchandise with these events to really have NFTREASURE be this thing that brings your community to life. And as we move into projects on Ethereum and Solana that have way bigger budgets, this can be a really interesting opportunity, as we'll see in a second. One of the partnerships that we launched during Consensus was a partnership with Pangolin. If you've been around Avalanche for any period of time, you know that Pangolin is really one of the top competitors to Trader Joe. And we did an interesting thing with Tony from Pangolin. So we printed a physical card with the Pangolin logo on it for Tony, and he had this in a lanyard. And when people came up to him at the event, they basically found Tony. They scanned his card on his lanyard, and we created a merch NFT faucet where when you scanned this card right here, it would open up a claim window on the person who scans that card and allow them to claim a proof of meeting NFT that they could then go to redeem at nftreasure.com. So this worked really well. One of the problems that Pangolin came to us with is that they go to 2 or 3 different conferences every single month, and they have to always find some local print shop where in whatever country they're in to make the merchandise, and the quality is all over the place. And if they want higher quality stuff, they have to travel with it, and bring a huge suitcase with them under the plane, which can get pricey. What they loved about this is they didn't have to bring any physical merchandise. They still got the benefit of being able to say, hey, I want to give you a t-shirt, and the person they're talking to being stoked about that. But then all they did was drip with their NFTREASURE merch faucet, drip an NFT that then was redeemable for merchandise. So they preloaded this with 25 shirts. They gave all those shirts away, and each month they'll just be reloading this card. We feel like this can be a really interesting thing that we start to sell to a lot of different people that go to a lot of conferences. And it's something that eventually will roll out to anyone with an NFTREASURE garment, where if you want to pay it forward using the NFTREASURE merch faucet, you'll be able to basically load a bunch of merch NFTs onto your garment. And when you meet somebody that is interesting, you can say, hey, why don't you scan this, and I'm going to give you a garment or a coupon right now. And you'll be able to hand that out as an NFT that can get redeemed. And that redeem process is going to be even tighter in the new e-commerce store, even though it is already working in our prize season redeem. So those NFTs, ultimately can be redeemed for any physical merchandise. And it was a huge win for the Pangolin team because they don't have to spend, $200-300 to put a giant suitcase under the plane every time they travel and then try to carry that, through the entire event. Also Pangolin, has a pretty decent following. And so we're going to be launching a line of merchandise with Pangolin. This is going to open us up to, their huge community. A lot of projects use Pangolin. And so this will just be, a lot more exposure to a part of Avalanche that maybe doesn't fully understand what NFTREASURE is. But the Pangolin people loved the NFTREASURE merchandise that we got them. And so we're excited to be partnered with them. We also partnered with Cock.media, which is a new media company that Clinton Wex launched. This was their first post, and this is Clint from the Botcast in the NF Treasure Cock Media hat and shirt interviewing Emin, the head of Ava Labs and Avalanche. So this was an epic moment at Cock Census where Emin came to the event. I got to meet him. I got to talk to him for a little bit. I'll tell you about that here in a second. But Clint got to interview him live on the podcast, wearing the Cock Media gear. And NF Treasure was a big part of being able to launch Cock Media because Cock Media is using their NF Treasure gear as a fundraise, basically a way to support the efforts that they have of podcasting and live broadcasting every single night, and doing a bunch of other redacted media projects that we're helping consult on as an advisor. So a really cool use case of NF Treasure to be able to use merchandise to fund creative projects. I guess I'll also just showcase, as part of the Cock Media launch, we had Wex here meeting with all kinds of influencers. So this is Cryptos Are Us. I am George, you are George, we're all George. Here's Wex in the Cock Media hat and Cock Media shirt. Of course, every time we're meeting these celebs and influencers, we're pitching them on Cock Media, on the Cock meme coin, and on NF Treasure, and so it was really great exposure. This is Choose Rich, who is the co-founder of Bodogos, and obviously a large following there. Got to hang out with him. This is all at the Karate Combat event. This is the Cock Media guys with Ashley, another content creator and crypto KOL. This is Grant Cardone's brother, Gary Cardone. He's launching a crypto tax service. This is Adrian that helped plan the Cock Census event. Wex here in the Cock Media. So why am I sharing this? Because this is social proof for that NF Treasure, is an interesting way to get your brand in front of the right people. We have Sam the Carpet Man wearing an NF Treasure Got Cock gear, and he also got photographed with a ton of high profile people. This is him with the Altcoin Daily folks and us talking about Cock Media, the Cock meme coin and NF Treasure with these guys at the fight. This is Sam and his Cock NF Treasure gear with the Krasenstein guys. Obviously these people have huge followings, and so this again was just an interesting way for us to get social proof. We can incorporate all of this into the website under each of these products and just showcase that, why do you need premium merchandise? Well, because as you go to these events and meet people, this is a great way to get exposure to your brand. And that's ultimately the direction that we want to take NF Treasure. Is NF Treasure is the place for you to double down on your brand and really anchor it into the real world through these physical events and physical merchandise that galvanizes your community. I got to meet Emin and have a conversation with Emin at Cock Census. He was really, stoked about the community and all of us. This was everybody having brunch at the hotel that a bunch of the Ava Labs people were staying at. And Emin came over to the table to take a photo. Everybody's wearing their NF Treasure Cock Census shirts from the night before. And Emin took a photo of all of us and posted that on his Twitter thread. 600 likes here, 136 retweets. Again, this is just good social proof that community, physical merchandise is such a great way for us all to anchor in as a community. And so as we use some of these things in future press and ads, it can be a really great way for us to just showcase that our thesis is correct. I got to meet Emin at the party. I talked to him for about 6 minutes. I was there with Tony from Pangolin, and it was a really great how it went down. So Tony invites me over while he's having a conversation with Emin. Actually, Sam the Carpet Man walked me in there, and Tony was singing NF Treasure's praises, talking about how cool it was that he had this card and his NF Treasure hoodie that he was able to use as a merch faucet. So Emin says, well, what do you mean? So Tony says, well, pull out your card right now. And Emin pulled out his phone. He scans the pangolin card. It triggers Avalanche Core Wallet, and he goes, oh, Avalanche Core. Kind of impressed that we had that as an option right there on the claim. He claims the digital twin and then redeems it for pangolin gear right there while I'm talking to him. And he says, wow, this is really interesting. I need to connect you with Luigi so that we can talk about if there's an opportunity for you to do something with the AVAX merchandise store. So, he's asking me more about how it works. And I was telling him about the trading cards and how the trading cards have an NFC in them. And these trading cards that we were live printing at the event here. And that all of our gear is NFC connected, and that everything is backed with an Avalanche NFT. And he was really into it and thought it was a cool idea. So then I was like, well, maybe he'll connect me with Luigi, or maybe that's just something that you say so that you can get somebody away from you at an event. But then yesterday, Luigi reaches out to me and he says, please create a Telegram chat so I can add our team. So we'll see where that goes. But my conversation with Emin was about a potential partnership on, some kind of AVAX officially branded merchandise, because Emin was very impressed at how enthusiastic the crowd was at Consensus and at Consensus as a whole. And, one of the things that he became very aware of was that all the merchandise was NF Treasure merchandise, and all of the cards. So obviously he was talking to the Cock founders, and the Cock founders gave him a Gribbly card and a Wojak card. He saw everybody with their Consensus trading card. He saw all the merchandise, and everybody is saying, we did this with NF Treasure. So he got a lot of exposure to us. I ran into him 3 different times throughout the event. He was very approachable, and it was just cool to be able to connect with him and to have him connect with the community. So we'll see where that conversation with the team goes, but we do have that group chat going now, and I'll be meeting with the Ava Labs team later this week. That would be a big win, and obviously more good exposure for NF Treasure. Over the course of the week, I met with the 32 or so but who's counting? I think it was 32 different projects, and we talked about everything from merchandise to prize sponsorships and potential tech collaborations. So I'll be following up with all of those people over the coming days and weeks, and we'll see where all of that goes. Some really interesting inroads with some ETH and Solana DAOs as well that as we kind of corner the market on Avalanche, the next opportunity for us is to have multi-chain access to allow people on Ethereum and Solana to basically control the game dashboard and the product creator tool from Ethereum and Solana native. So we're starting to have that conversation with the development team on what that would look like. And the goal is that as we get everything tightened on in the new version of the e-commerce tool and the new version of the DeFi game, that we can then start thinking about, okay, now that everything is tight and we know that it converts in a really strong way, let's go to Ethereum and Solana and beyond. One thing that was abundantly clear to me as I was meeting with all of these different projects is they all have VC funding, funding from $1.5 million to $25 million, between all these different people I met. And all of them were like, you guys have built so much stuff. Your tech is so interesting. You're already light years ahead of most of these people that get VC funding to build something. You should consider doing a VC raise, as a way to get more exposure for your brand. So that wasn't really something that I had thought about, but obviously I had several people tell me that, so I started to pay attention. And so just as a thought experiment, I'll be working with some of our advisors and exploring what VC funding opportunities could look like. And basically the way that it would likely work, and again, this is a thought experiment, is that we would probably bundle the tech stack and IP with the brand, and create something that VE treasure holders have access to, where VE treasure holders in the community would be that, maybe a Series A partner, and a VC would be a Series B. And then, there would be a press opportunity for the VC to showcase that, this is one of the first projects where the community got the Series A spot. So again, I have to talk to the legal team and a lot of people to figure out if this is even a good idea. But I'm just saying it out loud because I know we have smart people in the community, and I'm trying to follow the breadcrumb path of where conversations lead, and opportunities that they open. And obviously, with a decent VC raise, we would want to do it strategically, where we would do that partnership to open up huge brand exposure and partnerships with larger brands. We would partner with somebody that already has relationships with the biggest brands in the world. And the value that team, that VC team, would bring would be making those connections and integrating the NFTREASURE tech into those brands. So something to think about. I'm only bringing it up because, unprompted, multiple people mentioned that to me as something that they thought was an opportunity for us. And so we'll continue to explore that. We also launched merch with the Kong token this week, and you probably saw an email that went out from us. We've already had a lot of orders for that, and I got to meet in person and go to an event that the Kong guys did, and really cool team. They've got a lot of stuff that I can't talk about right now, but interesting stuff in the pipeline. And more importantly, they're interested in building a brand and using NFTREASURE as a way to do that. We also partnered with this project, which was Arena Royal Cards, and did some physical cards for them. Physical trading cards is up and running. And this week we'll launch on the site the ability to upload a PFP and order a physical card in a slabbed case. Obviously, we have that slabbed NFT as a prize in prize season as well, and so we'll be shipping all of those out in the coming week as well. Let's see. We've been obviously I had several just engaged with the Cock team the entire week, and they had a bunch of really nice things to say. Basically just talking about I had a lot of good conversations with them just about crypto entrepreneurship, and this was them just giving some kudos about that. And we definitely have a few redacted things that we're working on with that team. Obviously, with 72,000 cock holders, that's a big opportunity for us, anytime we engage with them. And then we're also talking about doing another potential event at Bitcoin Nashville at the end of July. So I will make an announcement about that when things are solidified. And then just with all of these people that we're partnering with, we're documenting all of that success. We had Aspiring Nobody and his buddy Ant out there doing interviews with Clint and Wex and the Cock guys. And so just capturing that footage while we had people in town, so that we can start to use that in promo and marketing, and have a case study library of these brands that really, have engaged NFTREASURE in a meaningful way. We launched PFP hats, the trading cards. The way that those PFP hats work is you just tell us what NFT you want, and then we do kind of a die cut cutout on a hat like this. These turned out really well, and people are liking those as they get those. I highlighted the trading cards already, but this was a photo booth where you took a photo, AI merged you into one of these scenes, and then you got to take the card home with you at the event. And those are all NFC connected. We also, a couple of weeks ago, launched our canvases, and we've been getting a decent amount of orders on those. So just so you know, those are there. And as we move into the new version of the e-commerce store, we'll be much more heavily advertising those products, and advertising not just to an Avalanche community like we've been doing, but really starting to go after the ETH and Solana crowd as our product gets fine-tuned. So as far as monthly revenue goes, We had just under $3,000 in sales in January, then $3,700 in February, $13,800 in March, $9,600 in April, and then $6,270 in May. So I wanted to show an interesting correlation that I think we need to think about. So what I've done is I mapped those revenue numbers, which is the dark blue line here. Those are our revenue numbers from January to May. But I also have mapped in the light blue line the price of Avalanche during that same time. And you can see there's a pretty strong correlation to price of Avalanche or AVAX, basically how much money people are making the ecosystem, to how willing are they to go and spend some of that in the NFTREASURE store. So as we kind of prepare for another leg up, I think we can expect that correlation to continue, but we're also thinking about partnerships and licensing deals that we can do where our revenue isn't so correlated to what the market is currently doing. But I did think that this was a pretty interesting correlation, and I think that can kind of explain how the NFTREASURE store has performed over the last 4 months or so. As I mentioned, Prize Redeem is operational. I guess last thing I'll say about May revenue is that commissions will go out tomorrow, Tuesday, June 4th, and we'll do an airdrop of all of those to the wallets for people who had merchandise sell. These revenue numbers also do not account for a few outstanding invoices from Consensus that haven't come in yet. So that'll get tacked on to the June numbers. Prize Redeem is operational. We'll be migrating that to a better checkout experience, just kind of solving some of the final things there. But for the most part, everything is working well for prize season, and in the new version, it'll be even tighter. In the DeFi game, we've burned over 350 billion smarter, and that is growing exponentially. So if you go over to the chart that we have here by ZXArcs, you can see these are skewing the ratio of the chart, but you can see that treasure burns are exponentially growing over time, and that will continue. We ran some numbers just as a team, and it looks like in 5 months, there's really going to be a smarter crunch, and so that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. We have started to upgrade some of the game mechanics based on the 2 votes that went out, and that should reduce transaction costs by about 75%. You'll start to notice that showing up already in some of the transactions, and that will be wholly completed by the end of next week. We're also doing a full upgrade of the Wallet Connect functionality to solve for any of the issues that people were having connecting to the games and various wallets, and that will also be completed by the end of next week. One of the things that I'm focusing on this week is that we partnered with StoryBrand. StoryBrand is a company built by Donald Miller. He wrote a book about the StoryBrand sales funnel. And this is a really effective and proven method for being able to convert people at a higher rate using paid ads. And so we will be working with a StoryBrand consultant to take everything that we built in NFTREASURE and put it into a now more palatable format, so that as we crank up ads going into the summer, we'll be able to effectively mint the rest of the keys, build engagement on the treasure token, and engagement into the participation in the DeFi game, and then obviously onboard as many different brands and creators as we can, so that they can build and promote merchandise within NFTREASURE. This is also going to help us just improve our messaging to each of the different user segments that we have more effectively. We also have a Zeely sprint that's live. If you go to nftreasure.com/quest, you can always see that Zeely board. And if you click on the leaderboard, you can see the all-time leaderboard and the current sprint leaderboard. This sprint has 6 days, little under 7 days left, and the goal of it is to collect as much feedback from the community as possible. So definitely put your input in there, and you can win treasure for basically helping give feedback. As far as dev sprints go, we'll be completing the DeFi game optimizations this week and next week, and then launching the e-commerce store version 2 in the next 4 weeks. And then we want to scale our ad campaigns with a Hyros integration. So Hyros is a product that's built by Alex Becker. He's a crypto influencer and has made, millions, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars with this Hyros tool that he built. It's one of the most effective ways to track ad campaigns and see how well they convert. And we'll be partnering with them as an affiliate to basically be a dev partner that can incorporate Hyros into NFT projects, into DeFi projects, and into all of our e-commerce products and brands that are partnering with us. This gives us a really interesting dashboard to understand how users are engaging with the platform and which merchandise is performing the best. And then we'll be able to make that dashboard available to vendors and brands. So as an affiliate for Hyros, if we help integrate Hyros into an NFT project or something, we can make anywhere from 1,000. Ooh, my nose is sweaty. We can make anywhere from $1,000 to $15,000 in commission. So this could be a really interesting revenue source for us as well, as we use NFTREASURE as a case study for why Hyros is important for crypto projects and beyond. If you want to check that out, the website is hyros.com here. Attribute feed IA grow. So if you want to read about that, hyros.com. So we are getting set up to be an affiliate with them. Obviously, we had a vote to move calculations off chain that passed and to extend the treasure key mint discounts until June 28th. Both of those passed. And so we are implementing those proposals now. As far as upcoming votes go, we do have a section in the Discord now. If you scroll down under governance and click on the Agora is referencing a public forum in ancient Rome or Greece where people brought ideas to the public forum, to the town hall to be debated. And so that's what the Agora is here, a place where you can post your ideas and get comments and feedback. There's a couple of different things that we'll want to vote on here in June. And so I'll be providing my feedback in the Agora. You should as well. And then we'll take all that to form the proposals. The big one that we want to do is the bonus pool lever adjustments. I've put together kind of a summary of all the feedback so far, but basically determining which of the 4 levers in the bonus pool do we incentivize and why. And will this slow some of the bleed on the treasure token until we hit supply cap? Or is that even something that we should be thinking about? And instead messaging the long-term game. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but the idea is to tweak the bonus pool incentives to incentivize holding treasure, balancing emissions, reducing sell pressure and creating price stability, allowing there to be the time to focus on business development over the next 12 months before we hit supply cap, and then just making there be effective strategy that feels fair to all participants. So we can continue to debate that. Definitely check out the Agora and the conversations that are happening there, and I'll post this document there as well. We have everything from slight changes in the levers to eliminating incentivization of smarter altogether. So definitely go in there and share your opinions. The other thing that we want to rework is the 40% commissions offering, and adjust commissions to attract more brands to the NFTREASURE platform, including the possibility of providing immediate access to 40% commissions by maybe paying a fee. One of the things that was abundantly clear when I met with all these different brands is that, so many people do not want to mess with the DeFi game in order to get those commissions. And so we need to create some way where they can rent a key or have access to someone else's key rewards, or just make it, the bigger thing is that they don't want to have to log in every day and do the DeFi actions in order to get to 150. And so one thing that we've been talking about is what if we make the 40% commissions relative to cumulative key level. And that would mean that the secondary marketplace could get a boost in key value already, because people could just buy 3 keys that are already leveled up to 50, and that would put them at a cumulative of 150 and allow them to just basically stake that and get their 40% commissions forever. Again, plenty of different ways that we could go about this. And if you go to the Agora and then discussion on 40% commissions, you can give your thoughts. Excuse me. I'm going to take a quick drink of water. All right. Now, moving on. Some of the future opportunities that were definitely highlighted during the consensus event were the opportunity for NFTREASURE to start going to trade shows at these various conferences. These conferences offer 10 by 10 booths for anywhere from $1,000 to $15,000. And depending on the demographics of the event and when and where it is, this could be an interesting way for us to get NFTREASURE in front of brands that would then utilize us for merchandise to all of their different people. And we could subsidize the expense of the booth by maybe doing live t-shirt printing at the trade show. So that's something that we'll be looking into. And obviously having information about the DeFi game and the treasure token at those events just gives every part of the ecosystem more exposure. We're also about ready to release a beta version of our augmented reality experience that can be deployed when scanning your NFC tag. And we're looking for different gamification features that we can add to that. So I'll show you a brief example of what this looks like. So basically, when you pull out your phone, you're going to step through a portal. And once you're in the portal, you're going to be in this kind of NFTREASURE world. And as you move your camera around, you'll be able to explore kind of this Joshua Tree style experience. That's a slot machine that you'll be able to engage with that we can give prizes away. We may have like a beam come down from the UFO that drops a treasure box that you can open, and maybe win prizes. You'll see here that there's a Joshua tree. We're thinking that we'll have like crypto advice and it'll be kind of like a sage wizard that you can engage with. But this is basically what it'll look like. Anytime you scan your garment, you'll be able to move around like this. And then you'll be able to, like, we could put different billboards for different projects. You'll be able to engage with different things and deploy videos, content, alpha, etc. So getting closer to be able to deploy a beta version of that, but it's definitely turning out pretty interesting. And I think if we figure out the right game theory behind that, that's going to be a really interesting way to have more and more people engaging with the NFTREASURE brand. We also launched the digital closet this week. I don't have a screenshot pulled up, but if you scan one of your NFTREASURE garments right now, it's likely that you'll be able to claim a digital twin of that. If you have an older garment, we're still in the process of getting everything synced up properly. So if you scan your NFC chip and it pulls up the wrong thing or it gives you a loading message, just know that over the next 2 weeks, we'll be getting all that synced, and you'll be able to create an account and basically start to collect all of your NFTREASURE garment as NFTs in your digital closet. So that's another interesting thing that we deployed with all of the Consensus shirts, have the ability to claim the digital twin and add that to your digital closet. Then we're also looking at growing a sales team. We're working on some of the materials first, but the goal is that as we start to target Ethereum and Solana, to have somebody familiar with those ecosystems who is doing outreach on a regular basis to onboard projects there. And also recruiting for prize season sponsorships for future prize seasons. So all that to say, the DeFi game is still going, and it's still a long-term game and mechanism for capturing the value in the ecosystem. Of course, when the treasure supply hits its cap in the next 10 to 12 months, that's when the e-commerce buybacks will happen. And we're looking to massively grow revenue by then to start doing those treasure buybacks. that obviously, brings value to the token. And as we mentioned, there are plenty of different ways that we could bundle IP and make it available to VE treasure holders in such a way where they could benefit from some kind of a raise or acquisition in the future. So just know that we're exploring that, as you figure out which way you want to participate in the DeFi game. The strategy that I see most people engaging with is minting multiple treasure keys, because there's 259 million treasure rewards for key rewards, only 40 million and change for the bonus pool. So the way that you capture the most of the rewards available is by having as many keys as possible and then staking that treasure to increase your VE treasure position. Um, One thing that I'd like to do is just engage in more community calls so that we can talk about what's happening in real time and people can share their thoughts on the strategies that they're using. And so what I'd like to start doing is on the first Wednesday and third Monday of each month, we can have a community call, either in Discord or Twitter Spaces, whichever you think is going to be best. Twitter Spaces would probably give us access to a larger community. But the idea will be to give more consistent updates, to answer people's questions, and to make sure that everybody understands what's happening in the ecosystem, especially as we start to get more and more new people as we run ads and press in the future. We also probably need to revisit the white paper. I've heard from several people, at the event this weekend that, they were new to the ecosystem, but having trouble because some of the white paper, needs to be updated to some of the new things that we've done. So I'll be going through and kind of updating some of the logistics side of that so that people really understand how to engage. But would definitely be curious to know from anyone what information in the white paper you think would make what we're doing most effective and most easy to access. And on that note, we ran a Monect competition. Much appreciation to everybody in the community who asked a question and paid the $10 to get us on the leaderboard. Unfortunately, we did not take the top spot. The leaderboard got super competitive towards the end. You can see that the winner ended up having 504 Monects, and the top three were all in the 400s. We ended up, where did we land here? We ended up with 114, and to get on the leaderboard, we needed 131. So it just got super competitive. These are all, pretty popular YouTubers and already have huge communities, and so hard to compete. But what I am going to do is I'm going to make all of the audio responses that I sent back. I'm going to record those and put them all into a video, because I think there's a lot of really good information for the community in those. And so later this week, I'll release that. And if you asked a question, I'm only going to be doing it for questions that were related to NFTREASURE, none of the personal stuff. But if you, for some reason, don't want the answer that I gave you to an NFTREASURE related question in the video, just let me know. But I really appreciate you guys supporting in that way. And one thing that I did do is I've continued to text Patrick Bet-David via Monect and building a relationship with him. And at some point, I may have our UX team just mock up what it would look like to have NFTREASURE merchandise in the Monect app. And now that I have kind of this text voice relationship with Patrick Bet-David, I may just send him the UX and a video that says, hey, here's what we're thinking about doing, and pitch it to him that way. So again, a lot of good learnings on how to use that app, and it did allow me to build a relationship with Patrick Bet-David. There were several times where we were in the top 3, and I sent him my first message when I was in the top 3, and so he was aware that we were a mover in the ecosystem. He, on several podcasts, said my name out loud on Valuetainment. So it's just good to know that he knows who we are, and maybe that opens up opportunities in the future. Let me go through all my Twitter tabs and see if there's anything else. Those were the cool trading cards we did, the hats, the Cock founders giving us some kudos, the Kong merchandise. Emin posting our community all in their NFTREASURE gear. The epic post from Cock Media with Clint from the Botcast interviewing Emin. Our partnership with Pangolin. The cards that we did, these cards were everywhere, whether you were getting a Cock card, whether you were getting your own custom card, or whether you were scanning the NFT faucet, merch faucet. NFTREASURE trading cards were everywhere, and a lot of people were talking about them. Obviously, we had the NFTs connected to all of those that you could claim to say that you were there. We've still got prizes available. Obviously, some great data here on the Dune dashboard. We basically, the MVP of the NFC Web3 experience is what we kind of knocked out over the past couple of weeks. And then we're now fully engaged on getting the new version of the e-commerce shop set up so that our ad team can ramp up ad spend, which will ultimately benefit the numbers in the e-commerce store and the people that we onboard into the DeFi game. Lots of high-profile people getting exposure to Cock Media and the NFTREASURE brand. More photos here. These are the sweet swole pit vipers that I was gifted. This is us at the Karate Combat event with the Brave Cock gear from NFTREASURE. This was me live printing shirts at the event, the Cockfather shirt and the Bok Bok. Shout out to Einar who did this shirt, and to Entheox who did this shirt. They were a big hit. Luigi, the COO of Ava Labs, reaching out to me and setting up a Telegram group so that we can chat with the Ava Labs team and talk about doing some AVAX merch. That would be epic. The augmented reality stuff, the Zeely campaign sprint is live, and our partnership with Hyros to be an affiliate and have that be another revenue input. So that's all I got for this video. I appreciate you staying this long. Let me know if you have any questions, and we will be doing a community call Q&A on Wednesday at probably 7 p.m. Central Time. So I'll make an announcement and put that event invite and RSVP in announcements now. And yeah, let me know if I missed anything. I appreciate you all. We had an epic event. I'm still unpacking it all. It's going to be great to follow up with these 32 people that I met with. And I can just see how all of the dots are connecting. And ultimately, that creates a really juicy situation, long tail, for those of us in NFTREASURE. Thanks. Bye.